You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Thank you for joining me today on this Saturday. You are listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. Glad you can join me. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or on Anchor, I thank you for spending your time with me. If you're listening to the restream of this podcast on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the podcast. New podcasts will air every Wednesday and Saturday, typically. I guess 2 podcasts a week. So please feel free to share this podcast on your social media outlets, on any of them that you use. I won't take up much more of your time. Let's get into it. Thanks again for joining me. This is podcast number 15, Saturday, April 25th. Before I forget, I know I said it in my last podcast, I want to shout out my brother whose birthday is tomorrow. I believe he will be 35. 35. We're getting up there in age. We're getting up there. But anyway, moving on. First things first. All things Atlanta. So, again, as I stated in my last podcast, outside of sports, not much going on in Atlanta other than Georgia opens the state back up pretty much. The governor, Bryant. And I said in my last podcast, I really couldn't tell that the state had been shut down because whether you want to label me an essential worker or not, depending, what my job is. I work 2 jobs and I still had to go to work. I saw no difference from, the state being shut down compared to how it is today. So I had to get my oil changed in my car today, and people are out. That's all I got to say. People are out. I went to get my oil changed, and I won't say it was a bad experience because it wasn't. Because I didn't receive any service at all. I won't say the establishment that I went to, excuse me, but I arrived at the establishment around 3:00. I figured by that time it would have died down, the place, from other people that might be seeking oil changes in their cars and, whatnot. And mind you, this isn't a place where they're doing like major car repair there. So I arrived around 3, and as soon as I get out of the car, one of the mechanics walks up and says, "Hey, are you trying to get an oil change?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Well, we close in an hour and we're shutting things down, so you'll have to come back on Monday." I wish you all could have seen the look on my face. Now, I've changed my own oil before. It's not a hard job to do. And I mean, it's a fairly easy job once you learn how to change your own oil. The thing is, I just don't want to get under my car myself and do it. So I don't mind paying the a couple bucks to have a mechanic do it. But apparently, this place does not want business because they didn't close for a whole hour. They have the setup where I think at this one where they just drive the car over a grate and, you can like go downstairs. They don't even lift the car up. So they can just go downstairs and unscrew, the oil cap and change out the filter. It's when you have a setup like that, it's easy, it's simple. And if no one's in there, you can be done realistically in 15 minutes if they're not BSing around. you could be in and out of there. But they didn't want my money today, so I didn't get my oil change. I'll have to go Monday and do it. I didn't want to go Monday. I don't like doing things like that during the week, being that I work 2 jobs, so I don't like to rush and stress about getting something done that I could have done on Saturday, which I planned on doing, but unfortunately they closed. They had a whole hour left and decided that they were just going to chill in the in the shop and just hang out, whatever. Because there was no one there. I was so happy when I pulled in. There were no cars there when I pulled in, so I figured I was going to be serviced. I was going to get in and out, but that was to no avail, unfortunately, to me. So maybe they could have just stayed closed since, Kim opened up the rest of the state, but they could have stayed closed since they didn't want any service at the time. But anyway, other than Georgia opening things back up, you had the NFL draft going on the past couple days. And the Falcons, they drafted at 16 A.J. Terrell. Now, he's out of Clemson. He concluded his 3-year career with 107 career tackles. He had 20 pass breakups, 6 interceptions, and 44 career college games. Now, he is a defensive back. There was word that Atlanta was trying to move up to get, I believe it was Young, out of Ohio State. The Falcons, they wanted a pass rusher. They no longer have, it slips my mind now, but the guy with the braids, he just signed with the Tennessee Titans. We kind of wasted a first-round pick. And I believe he was out of Clemson as well, but we kind of wasted a first-round pick on him. The Super Bowl year the Falcons went, he was tied for the league in sacks. And I have no idea why his name is slipping my mind right now. But I'm pretty sure for those of you listening to the podcast, you know exactly who I am talking about. But this guy, A.J. Terrell, is a DB. He is from Clemson. And he actually played his high school ball here at Westlake High School. Westlake, for those of you that don't know, is a pretty much, I won't say it's inner city, but it's right on that Atlanta, it borders that Atlanta edge. I don't know if it's a College Park or an Atlanta address, but pretty much an Atlanta kid, So he's from here. He's coming home, playing for the home team, the hometown. And I saw that there were some people that they didn't like the pick. They wanted Atlanta to move up and get a rusher. Atlanta didn't do it. They couldn't get there. They couldn't make it work. It is what it is. But here's my take on it. Because, I love giving my opinion. So what I do. So I don't get caught up in that's a bad pick. Oh, that's a great pick. That's when it comes to football. Okay? Basketball's a little different. You don't have as many players to watch. Don't listen to these people, these national media, voices that can tell you they know every player coming out of college football. You probably know, a guy who's really on his stuff can probably know the first 3 rounds. I'll give him that. An expert probably knows the first 3 rounds. I couldn't tell you who most of the guys that are picked in the first round are going to do. So I don't get caught up in that because none of us, we really don't know. None of us know what these guys are going to do. But I'm not going to get that. I'm rambling on. I'm saving that for another segment of the show, as we get into the NFL draft. And let's go to the NFL draft. Well, before we go into the NFL draft, that was all things Atlanta, by the way. Like I said, nothing else really going on. That was the Falcons' first-round pick. They made some other picks yesterday, Friday, and today. I believe today concluded or will conclude the NFL draft. But before I move on with more NFL draft talk, question of the day. Now, I asked one of my boys at work about this, and he knew exactly the song I was talking about because he heard this song on a soundtrack. So, for some reason, last week, I don't know if you guys remember the rapper Cardan. I believe he was from New York. He had a video for the song "Jam on It," which is sampled, from Nucleus. "Jam on It." We've all heard it. And Cardan had his own song featuring Jermaine Dupri in 1998, which was on the soundtrack to the movie Ride. Now, some of you probably don't remember Ride. And the only reason I know Ride is because my ex-wife wanted me to buy Ride on Amazon. This was in the early days, like early Amazon days. I had no idea what Ride was. I had heard the song, or one of the songs from the soundtrack, apparently, because I remember the Cardan song. But I had no idea about the movie. But again, one of my boys, he told me, yeah, I remember that because it was on the soundtrack to Ride. And, Ride is kind of like it's a kind of a cult classic. It's kind of when I say cult classic, I mean it's kind of a cult classic. It's kind of like a what's the movie with Dave Chappelle? And they're smoking weed throughout the whole movie. I think Chappelle's name was Thurgood in the movie. Was it How High? Oh, Half Baked. Half Baked. So it's kind of the movie is not like that movie per se, but when I say cult classic, it's like that. It's one of those movies where it has a faithful fan base, and then you have others that pretty much say, I just haven't seen it. It's along those lines. But anyway, though, my question of the day, because Cardigan sampled that song from Nucleus, the Jam on It song from the 80s. My question of the day is, what is a favorite song of yours that is a sample? Now, this isn't my favorite song that was sampled, but it is a sample, and it's been on my mind pretty much the past week since I went back to YouTube and I had to listen to it and whatnot. But that's the question of the day. So normally I would take a break here and, come back and hit you with some more good old fashioned sports talk. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to keep it going with the NFL draft. I'm going to continue on with my thoughts of what I was saying in the All Things Atlanta segment. But just a quick recap on the draft as far as the first round goes, the top picks. Because you got people who don't follow sports for real, and they don't want to hear who was drafted, number 27, who the Chargers pick up unless that's their team, so I get it. So and like I said, I feel some type of way about that, and I'll get into that as long as I go on with this NFL draft recap. I'm just going to give you the first 5 picks, the names that you should know, like quarterback Joe Burrow from LSU. He went number 1. And I went back and I looked at his numbers. Now, remember, he was a transfer to LSU. That jump from his first year at LSU to last season, oh my goodness. 60 touchdown passes to 6 interceptions. I had no idea that was his major stat line. I mean, I knew he was a beast. No one was beating LSU last year. LSU was on a mission. But he went number 1 to Cincinnati. I don't know if that's going to work. Look, Cincinnati is Cincinnati. They are who they are, in the words of Dennis Green. They are who we thought they are. They're the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're I'm pretty sure they're going to try and build around him. They got AJ Green up in Cincy. But, it starts with management. It starts up top. As an NFL player, that's one thing I would hate well, as a draft prospect, I would hate that you're going to be drafted to a situation where, the winning and the culture just isn't there, and it's not there with Cincinnati. Now, I didn't see the Bengals in the 80s. Now, I was alive in the 80s, but I was a young boy. So I didn't see the Bengals going to those Super Bowl appearances back in the 80s. But that was back in their heyday, and they haven't had a heyday like that pretty much since, you know. But anyway, Joe Burrow, he went number one. Number two, Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State. He went to the Redskins. Now, I read somewhere there was some remarks that he made about the Redskins. I can't say what it was because I haven't seen the text. I haven't read about it. I just saw that there were some things he said about the Redskins. And here's my thing to these guys coming out. Have somebody scrub your Twitter accounts and your Facebooks, because people are going to go through and look for anything to get you. I don't know what he said, but it's neither here nor there. I doubt I even go look for it. But he went number two to the Redskins. Cornerback Jeff Okudah. Is that how you say his last name? Jeff Okudah. Number three to the Lions. He's in another situation. Well, the first three picks are in the same situation as Joe Burrow. I mean, the last two picks I just mentioned, they're the same. I feel bad for them. I feel happy that elated that they're NFL players now, but the situation that they're going to is just, yeah. But cornerback Jeff Okudah, he was number 2 in the Big Ten in interceptions and number 5 in passes defended in the Big Ten last season. Offensive lineman Andrew Thomas, he went number 4 to the Giants. Well, I'm pretty sure that who was the Giants quarterback? The rookie from last year. Can't think of his name. Was it Jones? Was that his name? Jones? Somebody help me out here. I'm pretty sure he's elated to be getting some offensive line help. And Tua from Alabama went number 5 to the Miami Dolphins. That is my dad's favorite team. If you do not know that, I texted him. I said, hey, I don't know about the Tua thing and the Dolphins. I didn't get a response. He might have felt some kind of way about that. But those were the top picks, the names that people know. And what I was saying in my opening segment with the All Things Atlanta, I don't pay attention much to the draft because to me it's irrelevant. It's just I won't say it's irrelevant. The draft isn't irrelevant. The combine is irrelevant. But with the draft, you don't know what you're getting. You just don't know. I don't care how much you scout a player, how much you think you know a player. Now, there are some guys who just can't misses. You knew that LeBron was coming out. He was going to be a beast. One football player, Rick Mirer. If anybody remembers him from the early 90s, when he was coming out with Drew Bledsoe, I believe, he was supposed to be the man. He ended up being, he was, mediocre at best. He was serviceable. I mean, I think he backed up a few years, but he was that guy where you can start him. Like, if you were the Redskins and you needed quarterback help, you can sign him. He might have played for the Redskins. That might be why I said it. I don't remember, but I remember him with Seattle. I think he played with Oakland. I could be wrong. But you remember Rick Mirer. That's why I don't pay much attention to that stuff. And like in the combine. Don't get me started on the combine. What do they call it? The underwear Olympics? It's like why? Why are we doing this? There's no need to have the combine. The speed in the combine is not going to translate to the same game speed. It's ridiculous. No point in it. If I was a player, I wouldn't even go to the combine at all. You got my game film. You see what I can do. That's enough for you. So, Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis is a perfect example. Terrell Davis was taken in the 6th round of the NFL draft. Okay? Now, he wasn't expected to be what he was when he got to Denver, when he came out of the University of Georgia. But Terrell Davis, to some, ended up being one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL. I won't say that, and I might trigger some people. You know, I'm kind of going off topic here, but Terrell Davis should be in the Hall of Fame. I said it. Terrell Davis should not be in the Hall of Fame. Now, he had a productive, he played 7 seasons, 7 or 8 years, I think. 4 of those years were productive. I remember toward the end of his career, it was like 3 or 4 years where he just sat. He didn't do anything. The first 4 years, productive. He was the man. He was on pace to be one of the best backs in history. He had one of the best 4-year stretches you can have. But if you say that, you got to say that about the Priest Holmes. You know, remember that run with Kansas City? He had a great run as a running back. But, you know, these guys just got ran into the ground. TD got ran into the ground. But Terrell Davis shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He just didn't have the career, the numbers he put up in the amount of time. Because remember, I said he didn't play like 3 or 4 years. Like, not for real. I think he played, but it was here and there. But his first 4 years in the league, my goodness, he was the man. Tom Brady. Tom Brady was drafted late. Who saw Tom Brady being drafted? He was drafted like the 5th or 6th round, something like that. And ended up becoming the best quarterback, probably, look, I'm going to say the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. I don't know about Joe Montana. I saw highlights of Montana. I saw stats of Montana. I didn't really see Montana play until he got to Kansas City. So I'm kind of like those new kids now where they didn't see Jordan play with the Bulls, but they caught him with the Wizards. I caught Montana with Kansas City. And I went back and looked at his stats. Now, it seems like he just had a lot of comebacks. You know, he can lead a team in the fourth quarter. But I need a quarterback that's dominant like Tom Brady, who gets it done. Tom Brady is the GOAT as far as football goes. Don't at me. It is what it is. So that's my opinion on the NFL draft. Look, you don't know what you're getting. That's why I don't get into, oh, it was a terrible pick. Oh, it was a great pick. We got the guy who, if you get the guy you wanted, great. But I don't put too much stock into it because you just don't know what you're going to get. I will say I am concerned, though, with Philly. Philly took Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. I don't know what it says for Carson Wentz, but I'm a little afraid. Carson Wentz might need to watch out for his job. Okay, I like Jalen Hurts. You know, I hope he has a successful career as a pro. And I'm going to stay on the draft here. I want to talk about these girlfriends and these moms. So these women are out of control. Out of control. Get the women, okay? Get all the women out of these draft rooms or these meetings or whatever, because these women are out of control. I mean, you got girlfriends snatching phones. You got girlfriends thinking they were drafted and they're all in the camera. You got girlfriends. I mean, the kid from Georgia, okay, where the mom had to forcibly remove the girl off of her son because this is his moment. He started to break down and cry, and she proceeded to sit in his lap, covering him up where all we see is him. I'm sorry, all we see is her. That's it. We don't see nothing else. We just see her. Ma'am, please remove yourself so that we can see the football player that was drafted. I'm pretty sure the team that drafted him would like to see him as well, and some of his future teammates that he'll be meeting in the near future. I just thought that was ridiculous. Now, the story was told to me in a different way, the wrong way, actually. Because me and my boy, we kind of had a disagreement about that. And he was like, well, the mom should be there. The mom will hug them and all that. I was like, yeah, I agree. But they're out of control. But then I saw the video of the mom because I thought she was trying to hug her son, and I saw that she had to forcibly remove the girlfriend off of the kid from Georgia. And I'm like, oh, I'm 100% with the mom right here. Let the man have their day. Then there was another kid. I don't know who the kid was, but the girlfriend was kissing him all in the camera, like letting them know, like, hey, he has a girl and whatnot. Ma'am, you're more excited than the kid getting drafted. What are you doing? Ma'am, have a seat, please. Your name didn't get called. And then you got the situation with what is his name? CD Lamb. Look, I try not to talk about people's names because I don't know where they come from, and it could be a family name or something. But come on, we gotta stop with these crazy names, okay? They have to stop. CD Lamb. Look, I hope I hope he's the best pro he can be, and get his money. Get your money, okay? But old girl, his girlfriend, snatching his phone while he's on the phone with management with the Cowboys or Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones, no one's greater than him in that Cowboys organization. So as he's on the phone with somebody from the Cowboys, she decides to snatch his phone, and him and his mom give her the side eye, like, I wish you would. Women are out of control, out of control. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be long before a fight breaks out in one of these rooms. These women need to get it under control. I got no problem with moms being there, sisters being so I guess I have no problem with families being there. Girlfriends, and for those that are married, wives or their partner, get them out of there. They don't need to be there. Bye. Have a good day. I will talk to you tomorrow. No one is calling my phone for you right now. Okay, they're calling for me. But I just thought these girlfriends and wives and whatever, they were just out of control. A fight will happen soon. Something had to happen. People, get men out there. For those of you that will be getting drafted in the upcoming futures of drafts, please consider not having your girlfriend there with you. Okay? Please. For the sake of peace. Because let's be real, they're the girlfriend today. They won't be the girlfriend once this whole quarantine thing is done. I guarantee it. I guarantee you. Yeah, their woman rate, just went through the roof. What was that thing Jordan said? The roof at the ceiling, whatever. Oh man, get them under control, please. But I'm gonna try to move on here. Aaron Rodgers, he was a big topic of discussion because the Packers took a quarterback from Utah State, Jordan Love. They took him in the first round at number 26. So Aaron Rodgers was looking for help, and Green Bay said, "We'll just draft your replacement." For the third straight year, the Packers, they have made a trade into the first round. So look, here's how I feel about this. Aaron Rodgers will be 37 this year. I know quarterbacks are playing now until they're 84, but let's be real. Just because one guy can play until he's 43 or 44 doesn't mean that every quarterback playing can do the same thing. And I'm not going to say the writing is on the wall for Green Bay, but they need to start grooming a quarterback. So I have no problem with them taking a QB at 1. I'm not going to lie. Me being a Falcon fan, I wouldn't have had a problem if the Falcons took a QB in the first round. If they took even Jalen Hurts, somebody like that, to groom him to be the next quarterback. Because every quarterback is not going to play until they're 40 years old. I know a lot of them are doing it now, and that seems to be the fad, and that's the thing to do. But in reality, every quarterback is not going to play that long, and Aaron Rodgers is on the other side of 30. So, and I do believe that around this time, Brett Favre was around the same age that Rodgers is now when they drafted him. So now is the time to start grooming a quarterback, grooming that replacement. I know guys don't like it. You look at it as someone's coming to take your job. But it's one of those things where, hey, there's nothing you can do about it. Father time waits for no man. And Green Bay's not going to sit around and wait for, that time to come and say, oh, well, now we need a quarterback and now we're going to suck for the next 5 years because we didn't do it right. So I have no problem with them taking a QB in the first round. Elsewhere in the league, the Houston Texans, they extend offensive lineman, left tackle Laramie Tunsil. He had a huge deal, a big one. 3 years, $66 million. He got a $57 million and guarantees with $40 million over the first 2 years and a $13 million signing bonus. For those of you that don't remember Tunsil, remember, he is the 25-year-old left tackle that slid in the draft, a couple of draft spots a couple of years ago after a Bong video surfaced. And he was traded from the Miami Dolphins, who drafted him 13th in 2016, to the Texans last August. He was in a package with receiver Kenny Stills as well in that package. So offensive linemen, get ready, because Tunsil has just set the bar for you guys to get paid. So your payday is coming. So get ready. That's all I got to say. I don't get mad at a man getting his money. Get your money, because the next man will, and these teams will dispose of you like it's nothing. So get your money while you can get it. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. Matter of fact, give that man an applause, please. Yeah, so shout out to Tunsil getting his money. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up this NFL talk. And when I come back, I got a little NBA talk to get into. There's a bitter old man roaming around somewhere up north, but, we'll get into that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Welcome back. You are listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. Glad you can join me. Podcast number 15. Glad to have you here. So, I'm going to try and switch things over to the NBA side of things now. So, there's this old guy who goes by the name of Charles Oakley. And about a week ago, he was on a radio show. And he's had made some remarks. Some I agree with, some I don't. He said that Patrick Ewing, his high maintenance style of play hurt those old Knicks teams. And he also went on to say that he lost respect for several former Knicks, including Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson, and Bernard King, for appearing at a game alongside team owner James Dolan days after the February 2017 incident in which Oakley was arrested at Madison Square Garden and he was booted from the arena. Now, it seems like to me Charles Oakley is going on this old man, I'm mad at the world rant, and I'm getting kind of sick of it. It's getting old. Bruh, this was 3 years ago. It was 3 years ago, man. Let it go. Let it go. As a man, you shouldn't want another man to come and defend you and fight your battles. He's mad at Patrick Ewing because Patrick Ewing would not come out in his defense and stand with him. Patrick did nothing to this man. Now, I don't know about his high maintenance style of play, and I read some things that, if Patrick doesn't agree with it, then you weren't going to be with the Knicks. I don't know if he had that kind of cachet in New York, but it just seemed like he's hurt, man. He's butt hurt over no one coming to his defense. Look, everyone knows Dolan was wrong. Look, I know that. I know he was wrong. He was wrong for what he did to Spike. You know. Now, granted, Spike should have used other doors, but he was still wrong. They both were wrong. Both of them were wrong. And in this situation, Oakley was not wrong when he got kicked out of Madison Square Garden. I want to say that first. But it's over. It's done with. It's done with, the dude. Go on about your business. Don't go to another Knicks game. Don't support the team until Dolan is out. I don't know when that will happen, if it ever will, because apparently Dolan is made of money. And remember, he just got to a deal with Ballmer from the Clippers for some land for the Clippers to build a new arena. And remember, he won a $400 million cash. That's how Dolan rolls. But anyway, though, I totally get what Oakley is saying though about the Sprewell and Larry Johnson and Bernard King sitting courtside with Dolan, because I remember when that happened, and it shocked the hell out of me. It shocked me because they didn't even see that they were being used as pawns in the situation. I wouldn't have been there in that situation. Now, when it happened, I probably would have came to Oakley's defense, and I think that's what Oakley is hurt about, because Ewing didn't do it. And the minute Dolan asked me to sit with him courtside after that had happened, I would have went right to the media and said, "Hey, yeah, Dolan's trying to use me as a pawn in his games he has going on with Oakley, and that's not going to work. It's not going to fly here. No, not at all." So, Charles, man, look, I feel you, but then I don't feel you. Does that make sense? I feel you. I totally get you, and you're right. I would be mad at Sprewell and Larry Johnson too. I think he told Sprewell if Latrell Sprewell ever comes around him ever again, he would slap the ish out of him or whatever. I got no problem with that. I'm sorry. They sold out. It is what it is. And do you know how hard it is to say that another black man has sold out? But and I love Larry Johnson, grandmama, as a basketball player. I don't know him as a personal guy. But look, Sprewell, grandmama, and Bernard King, they sold out. It is what it is. They never should have sat courtside with Dolan. And it was so it was fresh. I'm talking about, man, it was like maybe a couple days after that incident. I know it was early, but Charles, get over it. It's over with. All right, you'll be good. Oh, I know you got friends and high friends in other high places. You the man. Go Knicks. All right, so we all know that the Last Dance documentary featuring the 1998 Chicago Bulls championship team is going on. They will air the next 2 episodes tomorrow on Sunday. Kobe Bryant also had his last season documented, the late Kobe. He had a personal camera crew follow him around and the team as well during his 2015-2016 campaign, which was his last NBA season. Plans were in place for a lengthy documentary about the last run with the Los Angeles Lakers before his tragic death earlier this year. Now it is unclear what will happen with all of that footage. So I didn't know what to think of it. I asked one of my boys what he thought about it, and he said it's too soon. He said it's too soon to do a Kobe documentary. He said, let's just, let the family, find some sort of peace right now. And, let's give them that time to heal. We know that they will never get over this. This is not something that you just give it a couple of days or a couple of weeks and, I'm fine. A family, you have a woman who lost her husband, her best friend. You have children who have lost their father. You have a father and Kobe and Kobe's dad. He lost his son. His mom lost her son. So I get what my coworker would say, and what he was saying, and I'm in agreement. They don't know what's going to happen with the footage, but right now is not the time to try and make a Kobe documentary. Let the family find some sort of peace first, and now you got the lawsuits going on, that situation that's going on with not just Vanessa Bryant, but also the other families that were affected and they lost their loved ones in the helicopter crash. So I agree with my boy when he said it's too soon. Let's wait a few years, for that. Yeah. So I agree with him. I'm glad that he had a personal camera crew follow him around, and we can get some insight, kind of like the Last Dance thing, and we can see what was going on in Kobe's mind, and that Mamba mentality that he had. I for one, I will watch it when it does release, but let's just hope that that's not something that releases or later this year, just because we're sitting at home on the quarantine, and the world just wants something to do. So let that film just sit. They let the Last Dance documentary sit for 20 years, 20 plus years. Let's let that Kobe thing sit for a while, and when the time is right, we'll go back to that. So that's my opinion on that. And not much else going on. So normally I would go into my news story of the week, and I'm trying to keep it sports themed, because even the craziness stories really aren't happening because people are in the house. So I had heard this story before, but Steven Jackson told a story on YouTube this week of him leaving his fiance at the altar. Now, I will say this. I am in 100% agreement with Steven Jackson. Now, I don't know the page and all that it's on. You can go on YouTube and you can just type in Steven Jackson leaves fiance, and I'm sure it will come up. And he talks about how he tried to get his fiance to sign a prenup. And he talked about how he gave it to her months in advance. She wouldn't sign it. And then up until the wedding day, he had given her, hey, this is your last chance to sign it. And he tried to get his nanny to get his fiance to sign it. She wouldn't. So he said, wedding off. And when he goes to see her, she says, I'll sign it. She's crying, whatever. And he says, no, wedding is off, because if anything happens, you can go into court and say that I signed this prenup under duress. And I just want to say, shout out to my man, Steven Jackson. Give that man a big round of applause, please. Yes, shout out to my man, Steven Jackson. Look, especially you guys coming into the NFL draft now, this is a story that you guys need to listen to. Protect your money at all costs. Find you, if you want to, find you one woman, make a family with that woman. It's tough being a celebrity. You don't know who loves you for you. Hell, it's tough being a regular guy. If you're a regular guy and you make some pretty good money at your job, you'll have some nice women, that want to kind of just want to hang on a little bit, just a little bit, But I have no quarrels about what Steven did. You protect your investments. You weren't in the gym with him shooting every night, trying to get better, And the crazy thing about it, he talked about how he got with one of the bridesmaids, which was his fiance, one of his fiance's best friends. That even shows you that the friends don't even have your best interest at heart sometimes. So men out there, not just rich men, period. Protect your assets, okay? Protect your assets. Cover your bases. Play it safe. When it comes to that, play it safe, okay? Sometimes you have to take a risk in life. And when I mean risk, I mean like you're doing, business deals or whatever. Still be safe. Know what you're doing. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Let's see. Stat line of the week. All sports leagues again with a big fat 0. Hey, look, I want to thank you for joining me on podcast number 15, because that's all I got for you today. That is all that I have for you. So I want to take this time to thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you are listening to this podcast on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the podcast. New podcast will air every Wednesday and Saturday, typically Wednesday and Saturday. You'll find those on Spotify every Wednesday and Saturday. So please feel free to share the podcast on any